Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It is Texas Football Today, a show with all the things plugged in. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the places, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today in her pod of excellence. She's our producer, Vianney Moreno. Hi, Vianney Moreno.
Hey guys.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the big show.
That's what's up.
Today is Thursday, June 18th, 2025. Only 161 shopping days left until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday, Vianney Moreno.
Adam Scott.
To the GOAT. Today is the birthday.
Greg Powers is the go, and I don't remember him being the birthday
I
boy.
think we got him beat. You know how much I love Powers. Today is the birthday of Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk!
Today is Dirk's birthday. Happy birthday to the GOAT. Go Mavs.
Go Mavs.
It's episode 1867. On today's show, folks, big show. Colt McCoy's on the show. We talked with Colt McCoy, thanks to our friends at Relief. We talked with our friend Colt McCoy, two-time Dave Campbell's Texas Football cover boy, a Tuscola GymNet legend, the winningest quarterback in Texas Longhorns history. We had him in studio. You will hear our conversation about what's going on with Colt McCoy, looking back over his career, as well as the place that he thinks is the toughest to play that he's ever played in. We'll hear from them. Then back half the show, sitting over here where there's not a chair, but in this vacant space will be unvacated by Carter Yates, our senior high school writer, who is going to tell us a little bit about the gatefold cover story he wrote, this bad boy, for the 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, about the Celina Bobcats. We're going to talk a little bit about his process and what he learned in doing that story, so we hope you will stick around with us for that. We are on tape. I don't want to give you guys any sort of illusions here. We are on tape because I am presently, right now, I am on a plane heading to Canada.
Oh, wow.
Heading to Toronto.
Canada.
For what I'm calling probably the final bachelor party of my life.
Are you going to go see Step? He's in Canada.
Actually, we are going to be passing each other in the air, I think, because he's flying back from Toronto, and I'm flying up to Toronto, and so
high five in the air.
We're gonna high five in the air. You ever drive golf cars? You just high five each other. Anyway, so we are on tape. That's why we're not doing first four through the door. But thank you for coming and watching our show. A couple of things to get to. A couple of housekeeping items before we get to Colt McCoy. First things first. If you want to get your hands on this bad boy, there you go. That one or this one, it's the same thing. We get both covers. The 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football is coming soon. It's on the printer right now, literally as I speak. As you are hearing these words, it's on the printer. You can get it mailed directly to you if you become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Get a 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed directly to you. Don't wait until it hits retail stores. Make sure you get yours and as a priority. The subscribers are our priority to make sure they get their magazine first. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. And if you subscribe, you also get a year of Dave Campbell's Texan Live, our streaming platform, where you get literally 2,000 plus live events on your device over the course of a year. Pretty darn good, including high school football playoff games.
The coolest.
That's what you want. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Makes a great gift as well. Get it for Dirk's birthday. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. One other exciting note before we get to Colt McCoy. Sunday at 5 p.m. Sunday, June 22nd, the exclusive State 7-on-7 Pool Reveal Show live right here. The only place you can see the pools for the 2025 Texas State 7-on-7 tournament revealed is right here on this very program. You can watch it live with us. We'll be bringing you every single pool, Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3, with expert analysis from myself, Matt Stepp. It'll be Carter Yates, let's see, who else? Greg Powers, Mallory Hartley. We're going to be rolling through the talent here to give you the exclusive pool reveal of the 2025 State 7-on-7 tournament. Wherever you're watching this program right now, you can watch that there. 5 o'clock. Sunday, June 22nd. That's this Sunday.
Let's go.
Make sure you are locked in because we will be locked in for State 7-on-7. And of course, you go to texasfootball.com for all things State 7-on-7. Coming up here in just a moment after the break, we caught up with Colt McCoy to see what he's up to after a legendary career within the state of Texas and then in the NFL. But first, a word from these valued partners.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Joined out here by Hayden Gunner at Denton High School. Man, it's a big day for you. You got your decision coming right now.
After a lot of thinking, with the family talking, stressing out.
Let's see exactly where Malik Hawkins is going to be heading.
First off, I want to start by thanking God. Without him, I wouldn't be anything. I wouldn't be blessed with all these opportunities.
Got 5 schools he's choosing between. We're about to find out who it's going to be. Got your teammates, coaches, family, friends surrounding you, so you couldn't have a bigger stage right here to announce it on. So without further ado, we're going to go to the man right here, Kobe Foreman. Who's it going to be?
I will be attending.
I'll be committed to the University of Oklahoma.
University of Texas A&M.
Stanford University.
The University of Oklahoma.
Every legend starts with a vision. For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Football season is right around the corner, and we are so pleased to be joined in studio by the winningest quarterback in Texas Longhorns history and a Jim Ned Indian and a 2-time Dave Campbell's Texas football cover boy, Colt McCoy. Colt, thanks for your time, man.
2-time.
2-time. That's a short list of people who've been on multiple covers. Do you remember this magazine and like the cover shoot?
I do remember that. I remember this was at UT. It was in one of the players' lounge or something, and we had all the lights off, and everybody kept walking by, and it was guys giving you a hard time, and you're trying to keep a straight face. It's hard for me to do. I like to smile.
Yeah, I know. What I will tell you, I don't know if you know this. This is the best-selling magazine we've ever had. It was 2009. I'm not kidding
really?
you. Yeah, it is. So. Thanks on behalf of the studio we've got here.
That's a throwback for sure.
It is, but you look the same. You're looking still pretty young and slim. You're staying in good shape. I want to ask you a little bit about your post-playing career and what you're up to now. I know there are Texas fans out there who hold you dear in their heart. What's Colt McCoy up to these days?
Yeah, moved back to Texas. I ended up playing 14 years in the NFL, which was awesome. Coming from Jim Ned High School and getting to go play at the University of Texas. I didn't really have dreams and aspirations of going to the NFL, and then all of a sudden, you make it, and got to play for 14 years. Didn't accomplish all my goals and dreams. Battled a lot of injuries, which is ultimately why I had to retire. I tore my elbow up and had a couple surgeries that I tried to fight through them, but it was just one of those things. I knew I couldn't make it after that. But I stayed in Phoenix for a year and tried to figure out where I wanted to live, what I wanted to do. Thought I'd be a coach for the longest time. I don't guess I ever really closed the doors on anything, but right now I moved back to Texas. I want to spend a lot of time with my family. I've got 4 little kids, 10, 8, 6, and 4. And so it's been great. Kind of moved close back to family. I hadn't lived around my family in a long time. So that's been really nice, and kind of started a little business, and just enjoying, buying some time back with my kids and being back in Texas, and it's been pretty special.
You mentioned getting your start at Gym Ned. You were your start. I don't want to bring this up, but this is the 2004 edition, and you were actually second team super team behind Chase Daniel.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
How mad are you still today about that?
Chase turned out to have a pretty good career too, right? We went back and forth. Never played Southlake because they were the big school. I don't know that they ever lost a game. Did they ever lose a game? Not many.
You're asking the high school football guy, and suddenly I don't know.
Chase is a good friend. Had a great career. I remember when I was in college, one of my roommates, later in my career was Derek Lokey. And Derek played at Denton Ryan, and he was named the Dave Campbell's, I believe Dave Campbell's Player of the Year over Adrian Peterson. Maybe 2003 or 2004, and he wears that with pride. I mean, that was he was in the house. He was like, "There's nobody else in here who was the Player of the Year." Just saying, I was.
Hey, he was a dog at Ryan. He was incredible.
He was. He was.
Going back to your time at
so was Adrian Peterson.
He was okay if you're into that kind of thing. Just that's the headline for the clip, by the way, is Colt McCoy compliments OU Sooner, Adrian Peterson.
Right. Teammate. I did play with him for a couple years.
Going back to your time at Gym Ned, how did that prepare you for what you did in college and then off to the pros?
Yeah, I think when I go back to where I grew up, Gym Ned High School, my dad was my high school football coach. I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, it was very special. You got to play all the sports. Football was king, obviously, but it was really, really one of the most fun times of my life, and getting to share that with my dad and all my old friends and teammates, and then moving off to college. You don't know what college holds at that point. I mean, if I went back into my community and asked them to raise your hand who thought I was going to go to the University of Texas and be a 4-year starter and go to the NFL, I don't think you'd see very many hands raised, right?
Yeah.
But things happen, and I hit a growth spurt and had the opportunity and took advantage of the opportunity, and here we are. But I would say my time at Gym Ned was really, really special, and I loved growing up in a small town and experiencing Friday Night Lights and just all the things. It was great.
Okay, so you played at the Cotton Bowl. You've played in big time NFL stadiums. I want to go back to Gym Ned. Do you remember what the toughest place to play was when you were playing at Gym Ned?
Yeah, we had some district rivalries. We in fact, I went to Midland not too long ago, and I was giving my wife just a history lesson of you Colorado City, Stanton, Kahoma.
Oh yeah.
The Mustang Bowl in Sweetwater. Just making sure she knew that, hey, I played there, threw a couple touchdowns here, whooped this team here.
The important things.
Yeah, the important things.
Be like the Stanton Buffaloes hate to see me coming.
They didn't like that when we came over. When I was in high school, we played in Region 1 for a couple years, and then we were in Region 2. So, my junior and senior year, we were all West Texas, North Texas. Freshman, sophomore year, we were all, we came over here and played the Dallas schools, and especially when you get into basketball, that was tough. I know we're talking about football here. But the whole Peaster, Ponder, Argyle, they were all basketball schools back then. They were good.
Yeah.
Now they're winning state championships in football.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's,
but yeah, that was a ton of fun. Hardest places to play. Most fun places to play for me in high school, we would always play in the Gordon Wood Classic.
Yeah.
And so playing in Brownwood, that felt like the biggest stadium at the time I'd ever played in, and it was a lot of fun, and those were special memories.
It was on to the University of Texas, where we mentioned you're the winningest quarterback in Texas history. Looking back on your career, is there a game or a moment that you remember most fondly from your time on the 40 acres?
Yeah, I get asked that question all the time. Back at UT, I mean, there's no better game than the Cotton Bowl. I mean, you're playing, you're meeting them halfway, and crowd split right down the middle. You share the same tunnel. The anticipation of that game, throughout the year, knowing it's at 11 o'clock every on this Saturday, and I mean, I love that game. We only experienced one loss, and that seems to be the only one I can remember. Just as a competitor, so I want that one back. But that was a really special game, and then we played A&M every year. That's a fun home and home. And then, just back in the day, the Big 12 was really good. I mean, you want a tough place to play is when you go out to Lubbock. I mean, they're on top of you, and it's loud, and it's tough. These Saturday nights out there were tough. Oklahoma State was really good. Their stadium is there's no room on the sidelines, so you're just constantly getting heckled. And then you talk about going to Nebraska, going up to Missouri. I mean, it was, all those teams were really good, so the environments were great, and it was a special 4 years. But nothing's like playing at UT. Yeah. I mean, there's just nothing like it.
Before we go any further, I want to make sure we shout out the people who are bringing us here. Relief, you're here on behalf of our friends here at Relief. Can you tell us a little bit about your partnership with them and what brings you in today?
Yeah, Relief right here. Listen, I'm old. Right, I've got hit a lot.
That's bad news for me if you're old.
And listen, bumps and bruises. I've had my share of surgeries and injuries. I still like to move around and work out and finish. Getting my elbow right. I've used all the creams and icy hots and patches and all the things. I teamed up with Relief because I think it really works. It's helpful for me. It's natural. It smells good. It's not too lotiony. It feels right. Kind of gets you warmed up, and it does wonders for me. I share it with all my buddies, and colleges, NFL teams. Everybody uses it. I think it's the best product out there for your aches and pains, and it's been very good for me.
You played under Mac Brown there at Texas. I'm curious now, looking back. Is there a lesson or something you took from Coach Brown that you've kind of applied moving forward that you really took to heart?
Yeah, listen, Coach Brown took a flyer on me. I'm not sure if Dave Campbell's Texas football in high school had me going to the University of Texas. They predicted a lot, but I don't know if they got that one. And so I always felt like, I would do anything for him, and I still feel that way. But the message that Coach Brown always preached to me is, nothing ever here is going to be given to you. It's always going to be earned. And I wanted to play quarterback there. Well, I checked into UT at 6 foot and probably 170 pounds. It's like, I don't know if you can play here, son, but we might find a spot for you somewhere if you work hard. And, I hit a growth spurt, and I worked hard. I redshirted, and all of a sudden I had an opportunity to go win a job. And Coach Brown made it very clear, like, this isn't your job. You can go win this job, but it's not. It's going to take a lot, and I felt like I had to earn that job every year, all 4 years, and that's the culture that he created, and I believe in that fully. I mean, my dad was my high school coach, so I had to earn that job twice as much as anybody else, and so that will always stick to me, and I'm grateful for him and what I got to do.
You were the quarterback the last time the Texas Longhorns were in the national championship game. We won't talk about that, but I do want to ask you about the current state of the Longhorns.
Yep.
A lot of expectations going into 2025 after back-to-back college football playoff appearances. What's Colt McCoy's read on the state of the Longhorns?
No, I'm high on these guys for sure. I mean, went through a little drought there for 10 or 11, 12 years, whatever it was, like struggled. But I really am a fan of Coach Stark and what he's done. I don't think there's a better recruiter and retainer of talent as a coach. There's not anybody. I think this team is going to have a lot of challenges. They've got a lot of new starters on both sides of the ball. I mean, look at how many guys have been drafted the last couple of years. It feels like we're like Texas football is back to the blue blood top 10 team, and I don't think that'll change this year. However, I do think I think I'm excited to watch Arch, but he's got all 5 new offensive linemen, a few new pass catchers, and the secondary all got drafted. There's a lot of pieces that guys have to step up and play and play well. I mean, and early. We got to go to Ohio State week 1 on the road. I think that's definitely a winnable game. We should win that game. But at the same time, there's a little less experience than what there has been the last couple of years. I just particularly look at the O-line and the D-line. I mean, I've played long enough to understand that that's where games are won and lost consistently. And we had guys last year that had played for 3 or 4 50 games, a lot of them, and you got to replace those guys. And there's a lot going on with a first-year quarterback that that they got to play good and play good early. Then you got to go to Florida, then you got to go to Georgia, then you got to play Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, it's not an easy schedule. So my expectations are high, just like everyone else. But at the same time, like I'm realistic that it's going to be a tough one.
Finally, you mentioned you and your wife have 4 kids. How did reading blitz packages prepare you for having 4 children?
Amazingly,
yeah.
Right? Like, hey, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be, you expect one thing, you're going to see another. You got to be able to adjust, and the good ones can adjust. Like, it's part of the drill, part of being a dad. You got to be able to adjust. If the bedtime's at 7 and they don't want to go to sleep and it's 8, like you got to be able to pull some strings and make something, call an audible and make it work.
Your wife's calling out blitz pickups over here, like, over here, you got to get this one.
Yeah, right.
I get that.
Hey, with 4 kids, it's both. It's not just me. My wife is amazing. She's an all-star. It's definitely a team effort, but I'm loving the time and being home and present and kind of buying some of that time back.
He's Colt McCoy. He is here on behalf of our friends at Relief and the winningest quarterback in Texas Longhorns history. Colt, appreciate your time, my friend. Good to see you.
You bet. Thank you.
There he is, Colt McCoy. Star of the Texas Longhorns, of course, a Jim Ned legend. Great to sit down with him and have a conversation with him. Thanks to our friends at Relief who made that happen. It was a really good conversation with him, and certainly wish him all the best. It's very cool. This is a guy who I think has been, obviously succeeded everywhere he's gone, and it's funny. Like when he walked in, he still looks like he could go out there and play. He's in fantastic shape. So somebody pick him up. Somebody pick up Colt McCoy. We're Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Let's do a natural segue here from talking to Colt McCoy about a team in orange to talking to another decorated high school quarterback about a team in orange. We're pleased to be joined by Carter Yates, our senior writer here. Hi, Carter Yates.
Wow, thanks for letting me follow up Colt McCoy.
Yeah,
what a great low-key guest to follow up.
Yeah, he's your lead-in.
Much like Colt McCoy's relief cream, I'm coming on relief of Colt McCoy and to throw some heaters in the 8th inning and probably get yanked.
We are here to talk about this, not the cover, but certainly this bad boy, the gatefold cover, the 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Footballs. I'll find the right camera there with the Celina Bobcats. You penned this article in the magazine, and I want to start with this. As far as the Celina gatefold feature, you can see it there, TexasFootball.com/subscribe. When you were first told about that this was going to be the gatefold cover, that we came to that decision, I'm curious, like, where your head initially went and what your first kind of impressions were.
I grew up in North Texas and not a person who played Celina ever, but someone who grew up familiar with them and the team up north, and they had such an awe and mystique about them. So originally what my head went to was the tradition of that team and the consistency they've had with 3 head coaches their entire span since 1988, basically. J.A. Moore, Butch Ford, and Bill Elliott. I think it's remarkable how similar that program has stayed as the town now changes so much. And I know we'll get into the town changing and growing as one of the big themes of the story, but I grew up in Frisco, Texas. I related a lot to Celina because I lived there in 2007. The tollway didn't reach out to my house yet. And as I grew up, the tollway now is going out to Celina, doing the exact same thing it did to Frisco while I grew up there.
It's a remarkable kind of through line there, and it's a story. And in the interviews I've done, I've told people that it's a story, yes, about Celina football, but it's also a story about not just even Celina, the town, but something that is happening in a lot of towns across the state with the exponential growth that's going on there. They just passed a massive bond that's going to open up another high school there in Celina. Things are changing significantly. That whole story, I think, represents a challenge for a writer to make sure you are telling the story of what has a chance to be one of their best football teams they've had in a long, long time, certainly. The reigning 4 Division I state champs. And also the looming, not even threat, but just the looming specter of what's going to change in Celina. And I'm curious how you went about telling both those stories in equal balance in a lot of ways.
Well, I had some people reach out on X when we posted the cover and said, because the headline is something in the orange, Celina's golden hour. And they were saying, I think the golden era for Celina is the four-peat from the 90s to the 2000s. I said, golden hour is not to argue which is the best Celina football team ever. Golden hour is a reference to the last hour of the day. The sun is setting. It's orange, and it provides the best light for pictures. But sooner or later, that sun's going to set, and the horizon is kind of closing in on this one-town Celina dynasty. And a good Easter egg in that cover shoot where they're sitting at the diners, the newspaper they have on that table is the one announcing the bond pass.
Man.
And there is a second high school opening. So you have to walk a fine line with this because obviously a lot of the townsfolk who have lived there for generations and love Celina football, being a Bobcat, wearing Celina orange are rites of passage in this town. And they aren't exactly thrilled about another high school opening, but they know it has to happen because the school is so overcrowded. Like right now, there's a construction zone basically outside of the field house because they're going from a 1,500 person capacity to a 3,000 person capacity. They have classes in the lecture style film rooms. Yeah. And I personally have my fiance's cousin is a school teacher in Celina's district, and they talked to me about how they can't handle all the influx of kids really. So they do need more schools. They know it has to happen. The question is, it's always harder to keep that sense of community when more people get in the boat. It's harder to row in the same direction. And how do they do that when this one team, this one school has been the thing that's unified the town for decades?
It's a remarkable story. I want to ask you about Bill Elliott. Obviously, he's on the cover of the magazine. He's a guy who's a J.A. Moore guy, right? He understands Celina, and I think you do a great job of really painting him almost as like kind of like this mythic figure, like this larger than life figure. And I'm curious what maybe like when you were talking with him, like what surprised you about Bill Elliott and what you learned about him in your conversations with him and around him.
Yeah, I think Bill Elliott has played for G.A. Moore in high school. He has coached at Celina since 1992, and sometimes you think a guy who's been there for that long will be set in his ways and stuck in his ways, and it's my way or the highway, and everyone in this town needs to assimilate to my program. And while there are certain things that he will never budge on, you talk about in the story, a haircut policy, they all wear orange, white or gray, long white socks. All of his team rules are basically having sacrifice for the team so he knows you're bought in and this program means something to you. But he's also the one of this program who has brought it into the current generation. There's a line in the story, he is the past, present, and the future. his son, Nathan Elliott, was the last Power 4 football player to come from Celina, a quarterback. Now he's the offensive coordinator and mentoring Bo Bentley, the quarterback. But Bill Elliott's the one who should be credited a lot with moving them to a spread offense and moving them into the 21st century of football. I know while Butch Ford was there in the 2000s, that was obviously the 21st century, but they were such an old school style of football. Very smash mouth. And I think people tell me for that story that as long as Bill Elliott is at that school, Celina will be the high school. You could talk about, they might have 4 schools in the next 20 years, but as long as Bill Elliott's there, Celina is the school that everyone's going to rally around.
And I think that's kind of worth kind of zeroing in on here in our final moments about this 2025 team. Because, look, they're the reigning 4A Division I state champs. And, spoiler alert, we think they're going to be pretty good again in 2025, in large part thanks to the other 2 guys on this cover. Obviously Coach Bill Elliott, but then you add in Bo Bentley, a certified blue chipper quarterback, which they've, Nathan Elliott was a really good player, but arguably the best quarterback they've had ever.
He is the best quarterback. I'll say, because Bill Elliott told me, Nathan would tell you this too, they've never had a guy like Bo Bentley.
And then you add in Luke Biagini, who I think is one of the real unsung heroes of this team, a guy who is a leader for that defense and may not necessarily be that 4 or 5-star prospect that Bo Bentley is, but is a football playing dude and is in so many ways emblematic of the Celina football. I'm curious, in your conversations within the program and just around town, the buzz that's going on around this Celina football team, we've kind of declared them back. Mm-hmm. Is that resonating within the community?
Yeah, it was a team, because I went to the first round playoff game against Wilmer Hutchins when they absolutely scoreboarded Wilmer Hutchins 75-0, and talked to players after that game, and they talked about how the town and the players were very hungry for that next championship, because it had been a bit of a drought since 2007. Now that's quote-unquote drought, but this is kind of a Texas high school football title town. And I referenced golden hour and taking pictures in the last hour of the sunset because Celina is trying to take as many state championship pictures as possible. Mm-hmm. They know these are probably the last final best years that they can stack trophies for their dynasty, because there is a bit of an unknown of what happens after 2029 when the new high school opens. So they fully know the importance of these last few years of the 2020s. And you can argue what the best teams were in Celina history, but they've never had athletes like this. Mm-hmm. And that's largely because of the population boom. So this is the sweet spot of the population boom. You get all the athletes and you're still a one-horse town.
He's Carter Yates. He is our senior writer here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. You can, of course, read the gatefold feature in the 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Something in the Orange, Celina's Golden Hour, written by Carter Yates. It's a remarkable story. I think all 3 features in the magazine are really, really, really worth your time in this year's edition. So, Carter, thanks for stopping by.
Love talking Celina.
We let's just do it every week. Let's have a Celina moment.
I'm so into
the Celina minute. Let's go over to Vianney Moreno for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts. What's up, V?
What is up? How's it going?
Do you want to tell people? You can stay on. It's fine. We're not going anywhere.
I don't think he can hear me, though. So
he can hear you now.
Oh, right? Maybe. I don't know. It's okay.
No, I can't hear you.
It's okay.
Questions, Tepper.
Yeah. You want to tell people more about or throw up that graphic for Sunday again?
Oh,
remember,
yes.
Sunday, if you like hearing Carter Yates' dulcet tones, do I have good news for you. Sunday, 5 o'clock. The State 7-on-7 Pool Reveal Show live wherever you're watching this program, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TexanLive.com. We will exclusively reveal the State 7-on-7 pools for the 2025 State 7-on-7 tournament. You're going to be down in College Station, yes, Carter?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
The Pope Catholic, I'm going to be.
He's going to be fired up, sweating it out there in College Station. But it all starts Sunday, 5 o'clock for the State 7-on-7 pool reveal.
Let's go.
I think that's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Here's a sentence I never thought I would say. Thanks to Colt McCoy and Carter Yates for being our guests. For Vianney Moreno, I'm Greg Greg Tepper, Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Sunday for the State 7-on-7 pool reveal on Texas Football Today.
Woo, bye.